Hey, everybody, it's Dave here, and we've got the group from Climbing the Pocket for the final score. Live in the final 2 minutes, and it looks like your Minnesota Vikings will go 13-4 on the season. What a great season. How you doing, Jonas, way over there in Germany?
I'm surprisingly relaxed during Vikings game. That's definitely new experience this season and not only this season, but like the last couple of seasons at least, there haven't been many games where I've been calm and not mad at the team because most times games have been decided by more scores the last few years. It's usually been against the Vikings. So yeah, it's nice to
Relaxing.
have that.
Good. Let's hit the rolling.
Let's do it.
We're inside 2 minutes. Win or lose. Join us on Climbing the Pockets, the final score. There we go. And we are all here. As soon as I bring in Jason Brown, the man of renown. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right, man. Happy this game is almost over.
Nothing
I
like
want to hop in.
preseason football in January.
We have
Right?
Matt Anderson sitting right next to me after being gone since the Bears won a game, it seems like, back in October. But he's back. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm refreshed. I'm ready for playoff football. I mean, it's finally here. I feel like ever since we clinched the North, we've just been kind of, waiting. And not that these games haven't meant anything, but I'm ready for the real football to pick up here.
Jason, what's your impression of this game so far?
I mean, yeah, I think Matt hit the nail on the head. It's very, very preseason-ish in terms of the quality of play out there. It's nice to see the offense look competent in the first half, do what they are supposed to do. Probably would have liked them to play fewer snaps, but yeah,
Sorry about that.
it was a game. It happened. We're gonna win. Like, hooray! On to the games that actually matter. Let's hope everyone's healthy and ready to start looking ahead to these matchups and what the playoffs are gonna look like.
And this keeps the
Time
pressure.
flies when you're having fun, Abby.
This keeps the pressure up on the 49ers to win today, which should happen, but hopefully there, something miraculous,
Also,
takes place. Go ahead, Jonas.
some note for actually more important to our opponent today, the Indianapolis Colts have come back against the Houston Texans, and therefore the Texans probably are going to keep the number one overall pick and not lose it to the Bears.
Is that game final yet?
No, it's 1 minute and 19 seconds. At least that's what it says here in on the broadcast. Yeah.
Okay. But Houston has the ball.
If I'm Texans ownership, I'm firing everybody if they come back and win this game.
Well, I think the problem with the
I know.
Texans is partially the ownership. But Aha. We've got cool. Tyler's going to jump on when you bail there, Jason. Jason's going to have to bail early. His mother is in town, which is cool.
It is true. It's true. All right, Dave. Well, let's jump in.
Let's jump in. The Vikings are well on the way to seal this victory. There's no way the Chicago Bears can come back. So I can definitively say
the Bears actually knelt. So the Bears basically did the Vikings victory formation.
Well, we can declare it Vikings win, Vikings win, Vikings win. And they go to 13-4. Who at the beginning of the season said they would end up with a 13-4 record?
Nobody.
So, have we just been lucky, or does a lot of this credit go to Kevin O'Connell, even though his end of half sequence was bizarre?
No, they haven't just been lucky, but we've also benefited from we've benefited from some things going our way. I think both things can be true. I think too often when we have these discussions, they end up being very binary. It's either this or that, and so like I even think the conversation around like whether the Vikings are fraud or like a fraudulent, 12-4, 13-4, all of that stuff, like there's just a horrible lack of nuance, I feel like, when people start to talk about these things. Are the Vikings like as good as teams with this record typically are? Probably not, but they're a good team. They're a playoff team, especially in the NFC this year. Like they deserve to be in the playoffs. They can score with pretty much any team that's in there, which gives them a punching chance with any of the teams in the NFC. And so, yeah, like the Vikings aren't like, yeah, I don't think that anyone is like taking a step back, looking at the Vikings record and saying like, this is an elite team. This team doesn't have holes. We can just roll into the offseason and be like, we're good. But clear, like, yeah, we have a great record. We're going to play some games in the playoffs and we'll see how it goes. But the NFC this year feels just soft enough for a team like ours to be able to go in and make some noise when we get in there. If we play the way that we know that the team is capable of playing. So, it wasn't just luck, but we absolutely had some lucky things go our way. I mean, hell, the game when I was sitting next to you in Austin, and Matt was in the stands in Buffalo, like a lot of things had to go exactly right for us to win that game. And there are countless examples of that. It's why the whole one-score game thing is so unstable, because there's so many things that have to go right for you to win games like that. So, yeah. We had some luck on our side. There's nothing wrong with that. We hope we have some luck on our side in the playoffs too. And we play well enough to put ourselves in position to take advantage of that luck.
Matt, what do you think?
Of the overall season?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a success, right? I don't think if you would have told us a year ago, after Mike Zimmer refused to play Kellen Mond in the final week of the season, that this team would then turn around and be 13-4 hosting a playoff game and with a shot technically at the number 2 overall seed. Nobody would have believed you, but to Jason's point, they've played good football this season. And people are going to be out there calling them frauds because they have been lucky and fortunate in some games, but you know what? They capitalized on some of that luck as well. They didn't just let it happen and then, squander it. They had the moment in Buffalo where they got lucky and they took advantage of it and they won that game. So this is a good team. They have some things to shore up, and the offense looked, fine in the first half today. But yeah, this is where it really starts to matter. This next week you guys are freaking out over something. What's going on?
The
Texans just win?
They just scored.
They scored.
They're trying hard to win the game.
On a 4th and 20, and Cole Sky was in perfect position to make an interception, just missed it, and I think it was Akins who was standing right behind him and got the touchdown. And they
just got the 2 point. They just got it.
Did they? So they win.
The
Texans
have put the bear.
It's 50 seconds left, so the Colts at least have some chance.
What are they doing?
Hey, it happens.
And you know what? To be honest, I mean, obviously it screws over the Texans, right? Because they're not going to have an opportunity to take, potentially Bryce Young or Stroud or whoever goes number one overall. But the Bears are now sitting there with the number one pick, and they're not going to take a quarterback right away. If they're smart, which they might not be because they traded the 32nd overall pick for Chase Claypool, but that's a different story. But if the Bears are smart, they move out of that first pick and get a boatload of picks.
And I think that's their game plan.
I hate it.
Dolphins win too. They made it into the playoffs.
Dude, Jeff Saturday sucks as a head coach.
Oh, man. All right. Sorry. Back to our game. I was just hoping that it would be nothing but bad news for the Bears today. But, the Texans wanted to give them some hope.
My gosh.
Wow. So, hey, the Bears, it could be all part of their plan. This way they get, a king's ransom for that top pick. Because it sounds from the Bears beat writers that I've read or listened to, they're not going to go for a quarterback. They're going to roll with Justin Fields, and that makes that pick so valuable for quarterback needy teams. So it's part of that rebuild, that complete tear down and rebuild, where we did the competitive rebuild this year.
Man, watching Red Zone right now is wild.
Okay. Billy, yes, our season is not over. We have at least one more game, preferably 4 more games. And if this team can play up to different points of the season where they showed they can put that complete game together, where the offense is clicking, we've got so many stars and the abilities, Kirk Cousins can get hot, the offensive line can protect him, they can score tons of points. And if that defense can hold teams to very minimal points, we could run this thing. But it's going to take all that coming together, a little bit of grace and a whole lot of, cheering from our fans at home to make that happen.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go highlights. Anybody have any highlights for this game? Jonas? Besides surviving.
I'm not sure right now. It's hard to pick something about this game because this really felt like a preseason game, and I'm thinking of some of the backups who looked good. I think one thing I want to mention is that the offensive line, especially in the passing game, looked relatively competent. Yes, the Bears front is absolutely garbage, but it's still good to see the offensive line with 2 third stringers in still working solidly. And to be honest, even against the Packers, obviously they were out of sync on a lot of those pre-snap things, but if you just go to the blocking performance, at least again in the passing game, the pass protection held up actually pretty well against the Packers despite the game script. And this, with all the third stringers in there, it actually gave me the confirmation about what I already thought, that the Vikings actually have probably one of the best offensive line depths in the league. You don't see many offensive lines being deep. You don't see many competent backups, and I think the fact that the Vikings have even 2 backups down and have to start third stringers, and it's still a unit that doesn't just fall into pieces, that's actually a very good sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I concur. It is. Abby asked, how many records did we break this season? I know there was a couple more today that were broken.
And I don't even know, but it did seem like it happened a lot. I know Jefferson broke a record today. Tyler just wrote an article on Vikings Wire about it, so he can speak to that when he hops on. But
1,809 yards on the season.
That's what it was?
Mm-hmm.
And then Adam Thielen had a record today as well. He tied, man, what was his name? I can't even remember. Played back in the 40s. But 55 career receptions for an undrafted player, which is third all time in NFL history. So kind of an obscure stat, but yeah.
And Kirk Cousins, I think, was the 42nd away game touchdown in a row, which is a new record.
Yeah, these are all just feel good stats, you know. What really matters is winning on Sunday. So,
well, and I like
Saturday.
How my boy Ed Ingram got a most consecutive starts his rookie season.
Yeah.
And of course, if he played every game, he's going to beat everybody that played all those 16 and 14 game seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But he played every game. Jason, what was your highlight of the game?
Adam Thielen got to get cardio and also catch a touchdown, you know, like which is it's an upgrade. I'm happy for him. You know, normally he's out there running laps. Got rewarded for his running up and down the field throughout the season with the touchdown today. So you know, that'll be my highlight. And the biggest highlight is Justin Jefferson didn't get hurt. That is my highlight. Saw him out there a couple times, kind of barking with the other teams, and I was just like, go wrap him in bubble wrap, put him on the sidelines. Like, don't want anyone taking any cheap shots at the franchise. So yeah, Thielen getting to catch a touchdown, JJ not getting hurt. Those would be my highlights for the day.
Matt, what highlights do you have?
I mean, it's an uneventful game. Did something happen, Jonas, in the Colts game?
Not. In retrospect, I thought they were going to do the lateral game, and that would have been funny if Ellinger just overthrew him. But I think they just wanted to go to the sidelines, so it wasn't as bad as I thought it was on first glance.
It's final on my side. The Texans won. Idiots.
I've got 2 seconds showing. But anyways, that's awesome.
I'll go back to the highlights quick, and I see my niece commented in the chat there. So shout out to my niece. Hi, Stella. Yeah, uneventful game. I think, when we look to the future, we see some guys on the team that obviously played well. I think Jalen Naylor has put together a couple good games when he's given the opportunity. So I'm hopeful that he can kind of progress and be something next year. Alexander Madison looked good again today. He's looked good all season, honestly. So it'll be sad to likely see him go this offseason as he's in the final year of his contract. And I mean, he's probably going to go try and cash in, which I don't blame him at all. So, really just kind of looking for depth guys to be playing well. Thought Oli Udoh played fine today, which is good as he's taking over for O'Neal in the playoffs.
Except for one penalty, false start.
Yeah, but that's what's going to happen. Chris Reed looked a little bit better. There was one play where he didn't quite get the ball. I mean, he got it there to Cousins in time, but it was kind of, we want to kind of eliminate those mistakes. You can get away with them at home, but on the road, you're going to pay for it like they did in Green Bay. So overall, I'm fine with how today went. Means nothing really to me.
I really love that the grit and power that has been KJ Osborne came out again today. The man finds himself, gets himself open, and when he gets the ball, he is not willing to stop for nothing. He keeps those legs driving, and he keeps going. He had a fabulous day, 117 yards. That's awesome. Are there any lowlights from this game? I mean, it's like a preseason game.
We had to watch the whole thing. No, no, like you said, it's a preseason game. As long as nobody really major gets injured, like it's a win in my books. Like there were some mistakes here and there, but I mean that's to be expected. It's people who don't usually get a lot of usually guys who don't get a lot of playing time, getting to get some reps out there, getting to get some experience. Yeah, so nothing that I'm going to really nitpick from this performance. To Matt's point, before the game started, it was already kind of thinking about next weekend, what that's going to look like. Because we've been playing with house money since like the midpoint of the season, it feels like, and none of us predicted playoffs, and so it's just like ready to get to the next season and get back into some games that really and truly matter for the team. It's exciting to be thinking about playoff football because that's not where my head was at all when the season kicked off.
Hey, but it works. It absolutely works.
And to the Naylor question, if you ask Jonathan, he would say absolutely. But most everyone else says no.
I have one low light for you, Dave.
What's that?
The clock management at the end of the first half
Like I said, that was bizarre.
Just abysmal. And I don't know whether I should really care too much about it, but you are playing against now the worst team in the NFL, right? The Bears are officially last place, and you just can't kind of have those mistakes. Kirk, it was a poor decision by him as well. And then just to, icing on top, they had 12 guys out there. So they probably would have gotten the field goal somehow, but then they had 12 guys. So that would be my low light. Just pretty poor clock management there. And when you head into the playoffs, you cannot be doing that. I don't care who you're facing.
No. And on one of those plays, they let the clock run, and then they went, oh, shit, we need to stop it, after they let, 10 or 12 seconds roll off of it.
Yeah. Tells you how much they cared about this game.
Freddie points out our win total was 9.5 before the season. That was on the optimistic side, Freddie. I mean, it had started out at 8.5, and it went up to that. So, yes, we got 13 wins. If you bet the over at the beginning of the season, you're rolling in some bank today. Mary's celebrating the playoffs. Absolutely, Mary. It's all right. We're in there. With a home game, no less. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Joe.
absolutely. And the thing is, and I mentioned that on our German podcast, I started podcasting in 2018, and that's when the German podcast started. And so because of that, that's the first time the Vikings have won the division since I started podcasting. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. That is cool. Now, we've gone through highlights. We've gone through lowlights. I'm waiting on Tyler to pop on because he said he had a lowlight. Don't know what it is. Just waiting.
Does he have the link? I know I forwarded him a link, but okay.
He does. I had to test it earlier, and Tyler was the one that allowed me to test it because yesterday's show, if you were watching Two Old Bloggers, you saw that my buddy Darren had an issue at his end. It seems like his camera took a dump, and it was me talking to a black screen all during yesterday's show. Now, the black screen had voice. You heard Darren, but you couldn't see it. I joked around about being above the Arctic Circle, and it's nighttime there, 24 hours ago.
All right, Dave. Well, I do have to drop.
Okay.
Yeah, playoffs. We'll be back. We'll be back after a playoff game, hopefully to celebrate some more. And maybe we win this one a little bit more convincingly. So,
Well, you be good, brother.
Kill it in the playoffs. And Matt, you going to get that first flag football win this week? Is that going down?
Miles and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. Yeah, I think we will. I think
This is the week. Jonas can do some consulting for you. I heard his team's doing pretty well, so maybe holler at Jonas for some tips to get the team set, get them right.
Well, if Miles didn't bail on the team, I'm just kidding, Miles. If you're watching this,
you got to pay top dollar for Miles. Yinka brought him in for his company league a couple years back and put him over the top. So Miles is not cheap.
Yeah, I took him out to brunch yesterday, hoping to, finalize a contract, and no luck. Take care, Jason.
All right, fellas. I'll see you. What up, Tyler? I can't hear you, but I got to bounce.
You need a mic. We're not hearing you, Tyler. Switch this over. Still not hearing you. Tyler's having malfunctions today.
I'm seeing him twice.
Oh, we get dual Tyler today.
Yeah, not for long. I switched myself back.
Still can't hear you, Tyler.
We deal with this on Mondays.
How about now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. I just had to hit a bunch of buttons multiple times, and we're good. How's everybody doing?
Doing great. We're 13-4. None of us picked that at the beginning of the season. I mean, maybe in the
9
most
and 8
optimistic scenario, but
yeah,
you gotta love it. It's fantastic. It's tequila worthy.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't be drinking tequila. I just tested positive for the good old COVID-19. So
oh no.
You know what? It's whatever. This is why you get the pokey poke. I'm fine. I've been working through it, so I mean, I don't know how to relax anyway.
Better now than at the end of the month.
Oh God, I'd cry. No, but Matt, you stole my thunder. I wanted to come on here and talk about Kevin O'Connell's clock management because this isn't the first time. There have been multiple examples throughout the season, and to me, you have to expect some of it with a rookie head coach. You just have to. They're learning how to do this on the fly. To me, what the biggest issue is, I don't see any growth. And because I'm not seeing any growth, now I'm starting to get a little bit concerned. What if it happens in the playoffs? It costs you points that could easily cost you a football game. It did not cost you a game here because it's the Bears and both teams were actively not really caring. But the Vikings, they were able to win because, one, they're just a flat-out better team. And how hilarious is it that the Vikings, their first and last games were double-digit wins. Everything in between wasn't. And those two double-digit wins were both 16 points.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I have to say about the last sequence, I put this way more on Cousins than I put it on O'Connell because O'Connell was trying to call it a way that there's no time left for the Bears to have a drive before after the Vikings score, and then there's just Cousins can throw a shot of the end zone. You just can't do that. If he doesn't do that, they are fine. They either kick the field goal with 10 seconds left, or they have the touchdown. I think the clock management wasn't perfect by O'Connell in this case, but I think it was fine. You just can't throw a shot of the end zone at this
like he did
this moment. That's on Cousins.
Jonas, here's my argument. One, it is on Cousins. He shouldn't have thrown that. But two, you understand the situation you're in. Why is O'Connell calling any play that has that short outlet? There shouldn't even be an outlet there because the outlet should be thrown through the back of the end zone. To me, it's a cause and effect. Kevin O'Connell was the cause. Kirk Cousins was the effect. And if you eliminate the first part, Cousins doesn't even have a chance to make that throw. So when you're calling the plays, O'Connell needs to have that in his mind that he can't make that play call. Or if he does it, you have Cousins change the protection where Dalvin does not leak out. We can rag on Cousins all we want, and it's fair. If the option's there to throw it short, you can't throw it short. But O'Connell should know better as a now experienced play caller, having gone throughout the year, and a head coach. He should know that he can't leave that option to a guy like Kirk Cousins, who, even though this season he's much improved in that area, has a tendency to check it down to that easy receiver. to me, it's I think it falls more on the head coach, but I don't think Cousins is absolved either.
I think in this case, you have an 11-year veteran standing there. If there's even, if there was an option to keep Devin in protection and not letting him go to this route, there's no reason for Cousins to use that check. And I think even if that's in there, I think that's where, as a coach, you have to be able to trust your quarterback, that he knows that this usually is an option on that play, but in this particular situation, it isn't. That's what Cousins should know.
Could be. He should have known better and just chuck it out the back of the end zone and then kick the field goal, and we would have been fine. Yep. Tyler, you supposedly wrote about the records. I just remembered another one we did not mention, and that is Eric Kendricks and his number of years that have led the Vikings in tackles. He surpassed Scott Studwell and Ben Lieber? No. One of the other linebackers.
Jack Del Rio?
No, wasn't Jack either. It was one of the ones from the last.
Ed McDaniel?
Decade. No. I got to remember.
Okay.
But.
Oh, E.J. Henderson.
No. For consecutive seasons. No, it was. I'd have to look it up. One of the 90s guys.
If it was a 90s guy, you're talking about Del Rio and McDaniel as your 1 and 2. I mean, Dwayne Rudd was only here for 4 years.
Not the 90s. The 10s. Played with Favre.
See, that's why I diverted to EJ.
Yeah, but EJ wasn't him. It may be Lieber, but I don't think it's Lieber. Let's go football. Pro Football Stats. Not that this is great. TV, I'll get it. But what other records did you point out on your write-up at the Vikings Wire?
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Jefferson now is the NFL leader in most receptions in the first 3 years of a career. He passed Michael Thomas of the New Orleans Saints with his 322nd catch. I think he ended with 324.
Okay.
Still pretty impressive for. Oh, and the Cardinals are about to score a touchdown within the first minute. AJ Green. So the Cardinals are out to a great start, hoping to give the Vikings the number 2 seed. Which, let's just be honest, I think that would be great. It wouldn't be necessarily great to host a red hot Packers team or
Steve's
a feisty
got it.
Lions or Seahawks team.
Chad Greenway.
Man, I don't know why I missed that. I was only thinking middle. But I'll tell you, I would rather host the 49ers in the divisional round than have to go to Santa Clara. So
Also,
any
the
help
Rams,
we can get is good.
The Rams just picked off Smith, and therefore the Lions. I mean, if the Rams start out that way, and if they can keep going, the Lions also may have a shot because they are eliminated if the Seahawks win.
Yes. If they still have a shot, they're playing for even more motivation other than just to spoil Green Bay, which should be enough motivation to start off with. But with that, guys, we've been through just about everything. Highlights, lowlights. We have is there any questions? I don't have any other than we sit here and wait to find out when we will play next weekend. Any guess? Saturday,
Noon on
Sunday, or
Sunday.
Monday?
If it's against the Giants, I almost guarantee you it'll be noon on Sunday because it's going to be one of the least appealing matchups, and they like to stick that least appealing matchup in that window. If we end up as the 2 seed and we get the Packers, don't be shocked if that's a primetime one because one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL, the Packers always perform well as far as ratings go. I would say those are probably our most likely. Then again, you have the Dolphins who, if they're Tua-less, which I would presume that they will be, they were going to be a prime candidate for one of those low slots. But I think the only spot we're not going to get is Monday Night Football.
Okay.
Well, I think Monday night is pretty much locked.
Yeah, noon on Sunday is perfect for me. I mean, that's when Kirk Cousins is at his best. So, well, we have a show tomorrow, Tyler.
Mm-hmm. That we're going to call it the COVID-19 show, Dave, because I have it. Yeah. No, well, we're going to talk a lot about the little nuances of this game and do a lot of projecting out for the playoff game that we are going to host at US Bank Stadium. We're going to do a lot of talking about clock management, a lot of talk about Duke Shelley, who I thought played the best out of anybody today. We're going to talk to Jonas's point about the fact that the Vikings do have a relatively deep offensive line. And it kind of showed in the second half. They protected Nick Mullins pretty well. And I thought it was really good to give Venderian, Lowe, and Kyle Hinton long, extended reps, considering what we may have to deal with without having Brian O'Neill. And your number one backup tackle, Oli Udoh, is already forced into action. So Lowe getting some reps, I think, is objectively good. And we are going to talk about our opponent. And we're going to see how they match up. Obviously, we've already played 3 of our 4 potential opponents. The only one we did not play is Seattle. And we all know the history with the Vikings and Seattle. It hasn't necessarily been favorable, but I think they got rid of that in 2021 when they beat the Seahawks here. We're going to have a lot of fun. And then, as a friendly reminder, once the season is over, we will be full-on transitioning to Mock Draft Mondays. I already have a bunch of wide receivers written up that you can go. All you have to do is type in Skull Search in Google, and all of them should pop right up to the front. That is going to be where you're going to be able to find all my scouting reports. This receiver class isn't top heavy, but I currently have 10 guys with at least a second-round grade. So there are options to help fortify this receiver core.
Which is good. Jonas, what have you got going on in Germany this week?
I mean, probably the playoff preview, of course, and I'm a little bit behind this year because I didn't have much time over the last few weeks, I would say. But I'm gonna start to dive into draft tape this week, probably, and I'll probably put up a poll on Twitter to see which position I should start. I usually started with the QBs, but they are not that great of class this year, and I would like to start with a relatively strong class, and also a class where the Vikings have a need. So yeah, I'll see. The receiver class is an option, but I don't think I'm going to start with them because we usually have the wide receivers relatively late on our draft podcasts. But I'll see. I'll probably just put up a poll and then let's see what it's going to be.
Sounds good. With that, we all want the Lions to defeat the Green Bay Packers tonight to end their season. It would be so just. What do we say, guys?
Skol Vikings!
Go Vikings!
13-4, baby. Skol Vikings! Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and rate us on your favorite aggregator. And a special shout out goes to our partners, the Daily Norseman, where the best Vikings content can be found, and to Lake Monster Brewing, home of the best beer in Minnesota. This has been a Climbing the Pocket and SB Nation's Daily Norseman broadcast. Skol, everybody.